Sure. All right. So I'm just gonna start with a couple questions just so that I can, sort of get to know you a little better.
Yeah.
So could you tell me about one of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, my favorite project, I think it's the last semester. I, together with three teammates, we created a website that aims to help people to find their roommates based on their preference. I learned how to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, mainly the front end stuff, to design the beautiful web pages. And it's yeah, you know, being in a small team with others to build a website is definitely an interesting experience. I learned how to cooperate with others. I learned, how to do the project management, and I learned how to be a front end and and together with the back end to finish a small project like this. I think that will be super useful in the future industry experience.
Oh, great. So maybe in that project, maybe in another project, could you tell me sort of a time where you had a challenge that you had to overcome? Maybe how you approach that, and or how did you resolve that problem?
Yeah, so yeah, I think during this summer, when I work with my team, web team, and the one thing I'm mainly in charge of handling the pull request, but I noticed that several people, they maybe when we design the task, the assignments, and the roles are not very clear, and some of them have duplicate developments, which could make the websites mess up. I think I I do my own version control. I and review the code one by one and to make sure the website is running smoothly. And I talk to them and to tell them to check carefully about their merge pull request, and to make the website have their appropriate features. So I think that's one of the difficulty I encountered in my past life. Yeah.
All right, great. I've got a couple problems for you just to work through together. So
Yeah,
let's
sure.
start with sort of an easier one. Here we go. I'll just give it to you in the chat.
Okay. I will share my screen.
Yep.
Can you see now?
Yep.
Okay. Given two strings s and t, return true if s is a subsequence of t, or false otherwise. Okay, I think yeah, a subsequence of a string is a new string that is formed from the original string by deleting some of the characters without disturbing the relative positions of the remaining characters. Okay, it's some types of substring, but I shouldn't mess up with orders. Okay, so return to vs is a subsequence of t. Okay, so not only should I check the number of characters, but also I should check its sequence.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking about some pseudocode to solve this problem. So the brute force approach is to loop through two strings, to loop through the substring and the original string, and to check if they're contained and have the correct sequence. But I think that will probably the time complexity will probably goes to the order n squared or something. Okay, so let me check if they. Okay, so I'm thinking about some easier approach to solve this problem. Hmm. yeah, I think I can first try that, it doesn't hurt. So, so first, so iterates through the string s and check whether its characters are in string t and correct order. Okay, so I'll start coding. Okay, so T there contains I'll use a variable to store the index. Index equals to T the index of let me think about this real quick. Okay, so I should do this. So if temp index is greater than the index is not greater than index, it will return false. And then the index equals to index. Do you understand what I'm doing?
I do. I'm a little worried that this doesn't cover all of the edge cases. So
okay,
what
so
if you have,
you mean S
what if
is
the what if the first instance of the letter is not the instance that you're going to use in the subsequence, right? Because index of is always getting the first index.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So
yeah, you're right.
So I might suggest that there's a fairly simple linear solution for this, where if you might want to consider sort of, I think this index is the right idea. But if you think about it this way, maybe you're going to go through both strings, right? And you're going to loop through string t. And if at that point, the character of string s is the character of string t, you're going to move them both forward. But if it's not, you're going to just move t forward. So you're basically trying to, if you think about the fact that the way you get the subsequence is by removing the characters in between.
Yeah.
How can you use that to just say, oh, I'm going to just skip over those characters, but if the characters do match up, I'm going to, move both forward or something like that. It might be a little unclear, but
okay. I think I have a new idea, but maybe that's not directly, matches your idea.
It's okay. Yeah, no. I want you to do what you think of.
So so instead I'll iterate through the t first. Okay, so I get this, the idea of this method, methods, from another question actually. It's like, index and
Yeah, I think you have to use charat still. It is a string, but yeah.
oh yeah, makes sense. So it's like equals to that's the index. It's just finding the target characters and putting them into the front of the string, and but I think duplication is a problem. Let me think if my method avoids the duplication. So if it's like a okay, so yeah, I think it avoids duplications. Let me check. So then I will use the if t the substring 0 index, maybe I check the boundary later, equals to s return. I just return, I use what Marius tells me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's correct. Let me check. Compile error. Do I need a parenthesis?
Yes, I believe it's a function
Okay,
in Java.
Yeah. Charat index. Oh, it requires a value, but okay. Charat. Wait. Why it's oh yeah. I shouldn't use I think I initialize a variable here, right?
Yeah, I don't know if t.charat is the correct way to set the character as well as the correct way to get it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Java. I don't know if there's a set char or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think charat is probably just a getter.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some methods. Okay, maybe I can you turn it into a character array. That makes sense.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, because strings are immutable in Java, you can't just change them. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do that.
So ti and index equals to the charts. Oh, okay. String index out of range.
Do you always want to increase index? Or do you only want, yeah.
No. Yeah. Let's see if maybe it's index.
Well, you're setting T2 now. You're setting T2, but you're checking T. So
yeah, you're right. So T3 char index. 3 delta. Equals to T2I. And string S and T4. New string T3. Return T4 equals to TS XS.
I believe it's dot equals for strings in Java. I don't think you can use double equals. All right,
Okay.
I thought not. I think it's
Maybe,
T4 dot equals or something like that.
Let me print the T4 real quick.
Yeah, it should be dot equals.
ABC. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you know the method is correct. I just need to equals. I think there's a
Yeah. T4 dot equals. Yeah. T3 or yeah, S. Yeah.
Example test cases. All right. Index out of bounds. Here still. Why? Oh, sometimes you know maybe the first string, the length of the first string is even greater than the second string, and maybe I should add a boundary, to add an edge case to check that.
Sure.
Unless the length is greater than. Then why is still index out of bound? So let's take the inputs. Also with regard to the empty string, I should return false, right?
Okay. You have to double check that the index exists.
Not sure. That's maybe.
I think you have to perform a check, and if index is, I think if you reach the end of S, you found it. Right.
Oh yeah.
So your index is going past the end of S because you're still looping through or something.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So you just have to check if the index has gotten too big, and then you can just return early. No, I think it's up in the loop. I think you keep looping even though the index has gone past the boundary. So after you increase the index, you should check if the index is greater than s dot length -1 or something. Yeah, or yeah, that works.
Yeah.
And then you can.
I
think you want to return true actually.
Oh yeah.
No, still doesn't work. String index out of range.
Yeah, I think as you see here is an empty string, and here is AHBG. Oh, should I let me check the example cases. So what's maybe it should return true. I don't know, because any string always contain an empty string, right? I don't know. Just let me try this.
You have to do dot equals again. That's probably why.
Oh, okay.
Dot equals, yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty
Oh,
fast.
haha, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious
You mean
get
remove the?
if you remove that all of that last bit and then just make it return false.
Yeah. I guess what you mean.
I'm curious if that'll work because I believe all you need to do is check if that index has reached the end.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, it's even
okay.
slower. You see.
Leak code. I mean, if you hit submit again, it'll be a different time. It's just random. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a little better. You don't have to do the substring checking. If the index is reached, then you know you found all the
Yeah.
letters.
You're right. You're right. I get what you mean.
Okay. All right. So let's try one more. This one's maybe a little harder, but it's not that bad. And there's a little bit of a trick to this one, I think, but okay, I've sent you the link.
Oh, it's definitely a graph problem. Given an n times n matrix board where each cell is a battleship X or empty dots, return the number of the battleships on boards. Battleships can only be placed horizontally or vertically on boards. Maybe this makes me think of the word Scrabble game we created.
Yeah.
Where can be at least one horizontal vertical cell separates between two battleships. One, they can be of any size. Return the number of the battleships on board. Oh wait, I think the X stands for the battleship, but Y is outputting 2 here.
So
let me check.
Yeah, it's the battleship can be different lengths. So the X just means it's part of the
battleship. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes so sense. The one in the upper left is a battleship, and then the one that's 3 long, it's just a longer battleship. So
yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. This is a very interesting problem. Character array. So I need to check. So if there is a battleship, I should check whether the horizontal or the vertical battleship are battleship as well. So maybe the smarter way is to not to check the battleship, but to check the dots. So one. Let me think. Okay, I think checking the document maybe not working. Yeah. My first thought is to use 2 for loops to go through and find the battleships and store its index using hash map, and you know, and then check if there are adjacent index and finally counts the overall battleships. Does that make sense to you?
Sure. I guess
I'm
so.
not sure if it's finally working or
So I think there's a
very
little bit of a
time
hint
efficient.
here. If you
Yeah.
scroll down on the thing, there's a little follow up, and I think this actually makes it, maybe it makes it harder to initially understand, but it gives you a little bit of a hint as to sort of what you could do, right?
One
So
pass,
only
yeah.
O of 1 and 1 pass, right? So O of n time or O of mn time and O of 1 extra memory, right? So that sort of suggests that maybe you don't need a hash map. I mean, if you want to go that route, you can, but if you also want to take a little bit to think about that, then it's up to you.
So it's saying that I should only make some changes based on this character array, right?
Yeah, right. So you shouldn't really need any extra variables or anything more than some constant amount of extra variables.
Okay. So yeah.
And so it might be a little interesting to sort of think about the higher level characteristics of the battleship. Is there something that you can use to know, to sort of define how you count your battleships, and how do you know something is a battleship? That might be a little abstract. I'm not trying to give you the answer, but
Yeah. I'm trying to digest what you have said.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you repeat that? I can.
Yeah. So, if you look at a battleship, is there some way you can think of, if I look at a single X, how do I know, can you uniquely identify a battleship using one of the X's in it? That might be a little bit too much of a hint, but you know what I mean? Like, is there an X in a battleship that will tell you this is a unique new battleship that I haven't seen before?
Oh yeah. You are saying that I should change the character X to other characters to make it unique.
That could be one way of doing it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about ways which is time efficient.
I think you're sort of on the right track there. Sort of.
Okay. My idea is to simply use 2 for loops.
Sure, I think that's a great place to start.
It's been a long time since I deal with the 2D array. Last time I think it's 220. Okay. Let's check. Oh, I'm not sure if does JavaScript. Oh, I don't think Java has a width, right? Maybe it's still the I don't know. Okay, so it should be both there. Both I there. Okay, and if boards I j is x, so it's total. This is a total number of the battleships. It reminds me of have a similar problem. But if I still need to check the JSON's battleships, that would require another loop. So it needs to be very time consuming. Don't use extra memory. So, do you think I'm on the right track?
So I think when you said something about changing the character, that is a way to do it, and I think that you were sort of on track with that.
Okay.
For example, if you were to take a look at an X, look at the characters next to it. What can that information give you? If you've been changing characters.
Interesting. Let me see.
Yeah.
It's really abstract. I have to digest that. So,
sure. So like if you look at the example case, for example, right?
Yeah.
You're going to loop through the first row, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you look at that first X in the upper left, right? And you count it because it's an X, and you're going to say this is a battleship, so you +1, right?
Yeah.
But then you're going to turn it into some other character. Let's say a Z. Okay, so you turn that into a Z. Okay, then we loop through, and then we turn the other one into a Z, and we've counted that. Now, when we get to the second row, we can say this X is adjacent to a Z. And if it's adjacent to a Z, we've already counted this battleship, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a very smart solution. Yeah. And
so you do need to check if any of the adjacent pieces are Z's to decide if you're going to count it or not, I think. I think no matter what, you want to turn it into a Z, because you need to make sure that sort of propagates.
Yeah.
But you want to check to see if you're going to increase the total. You want to check if there's a Z adjacent.
So what I really need to check, what characters I need to check is I think it's the characters except the upper boundary, right? So the upper boundary should, okay. So it's greater than 0. If board ij equals to x and the boards I -1, j equals to not equal to z, and total plus, right? And else I need else. I'm not sure if that's working. That looks good to me. Not a statement.
It should be equals, not equals. And then I think you need to return the total at the end.
Yeah, that's let's see. Output 1, expected 2. So it's actually, so let me print the index. So only 1, 3. Why that I is why this one is is why is output in this one? Oh, okay. I think this one. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one. So this one is not counted.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
okay. So
I see. Yeah. If so.
yeah, and I think you want to still make sure that you're setting Z.
Yeah, you're right. It's getting more complicated.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there some sort of, yeah, I think you can definitely sort of condense this into a sort of a more simple logic, where if
I think, yeah, we are really close to the right answer.
yeah, here, how, so basically there's two options. Well, so okay, so
Yeah.
first of all, you're only taking into consideration I at the moment, and you have to check both in the I and the J direction, right?
Okay.
So you want to check
Yeah,
sort
you're
of,
right.
I'm
Not
not
only
sure
the
that's exactly the
vertical, but
problem
also
you're having,
the-
but you want to check if I is greater than 0 and I minus 1 is not Z, and J is greater than 0 and J is not, whatever.
Yeah.
Or it should be J is equal to 0 or J minus 1 is not Z. So there should be like one if statement you can do that to determine if it's a valid battleship hit. So
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's
Maybe I
going to
should
be
change the for loop here. Just make it 1 to length, and then at first I count how many.
Well, if you start at 1, you could miss a battleship, right? That's in
Yeah.
the first row.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I think that's about right. I think it's if I equals 0 or I is board I minus 1 J is not equal to Z. And then the and is going to be the other thing.
I minus 1 is not equal to Z. Okay. Should I combine them in this way or just write them separately? I really think.
It's
I can try though. Oh, wait. So here, my for loop, the logic is, I is checking the each subarray, which is like the I, so it's like each row, and
sure.
J is each column.
Yep.
And so in this case, I think I only need to focus on the, from top to bottom this thing. Maybe. So here, I should add something here. Maybe you should move this condition. What happens if j is equal to 0? So I think I'm missing some cases, you know. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit more complicated, so I just return to the previous version. So I own this time x, x, x. If I is 0, board I j equals to x, I minus 1 j equals to z. Two, three.
Yeah, I think you still have the issue of you're not checking the J direction for Z's properly.
I'm thinking how to combine them together.
So yeah, I think it might be helpful to sort of, as a way of framing this question, I think you're really close. I think I sort of went with the letters because you would sort of mention that. The way that I sort of frame this question, if you look at a battleship, right? If you look at one of these things, you can identify it by the X that's in sort of either the uppermost position or the leftmost position, right? Because they're straight lines. So if you look at an X and it has nothing above it and nothing to the left of it, you can count it as a battleship, right? If you look at an X and it has something to the above it or something to the left of it, you don't count it because you said, oh, I've already counted this, right? Because it's not the sort of the defining X of the battleship, which is the leftmost or the uppermost. So you want to check, is this X at the top of the screen? Is it like, is I 0 or is I greater than 0 and above me is a dot? Or, and is J 0 or is J greater than 0 and to the left of me is a dot? And if that's the case, you're going to plus your count.
It reminds me of the projects in 220. Do you remember those robots? You need to make the robots, like make it gray or make it red. I think that's 2D array. That's a sorry. It's wires. It went off. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think that's that's a great question to practice. I think I'm really close to the right answer. I just
really close. Yeah, this one is definitely, I picked this one because it's not very sort of difficult in terms of the actual technical thing that you have to produce in the end. I mean, it's only a couple lines of code. But it sort of engages that problem solving of like, how do I interpret the question? So, but you were really close. So yeah, great job.
Thank you. And I take a look and finish the right solution later.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking this time to meet with me, and I will let you know in a couple days
Yeah. Thank you.
the
Thank you. See you
what the
next
next
time.
steps are.
Yeah.
All right.